look at, if I looked at them, I could not tell the difference, but one of them would go in the charging port and the other one would not.
Yeah.
So it had to be just a millimeter.
Yeah. I think companies are getting a little better about generic.
I hope so.
Howdy, Art.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt that you could, or a sweatshirt you could, I don't know if you can read that or not.
I don't know, I can't read it from here. Let's see.
Pretty good.
Still can't read it.
Hand over the chocolate and no one will get hurt.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's good.
Anything new, Mr. Art?
Uh, no, not particularly. It's been awful cold here, but other than that, it's okay. Um, we are just staying in and staying warm.
What I understand, we're in for another round of weather tomorrow.
This is snow or just cold?
Looks like snow to me, but
Okay,
the forecast, I guess, is saying snow.
okay. Well,
I don't know how much, but
we're just staying home and staying safe and you know basically if you've got a warm house and plenty of food, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, I checked on the forecast and by May, it's supposed to be above freezing.
Oh yeah, okay.
by May. Yeah. Yeah, groundhog, I guess, said we're in for 6 more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Groundhog.
So you and Steve have talked about that being a nice little.
Yeah, that's a nice router.
Yeah. Is that one got a USB connection?
I do not see it in USB, unless I remember it one time. Oh, yep. There it is. It's right on the front. Yep. They've got AT&T has disabled the USB port on my router.
Wow.
Yeah. Not real sure why they would do that.
Software.
They pretty much, you can make, normal changes, but anything that involves the hardware, they pretty much got it locked down, so you can't really do anything. At one point, when I first got it, the USB port worked and it could act as a, you could plug a hard drive into it, or you could plug a printer into it, and it would act as a printer or a network printer or a network hard drive. And one of their updates, probably the first or second update I ever got from them, killed that. That was too good of a feature to have, I guess.
Well, I had a solid state drive plugged into that for a while, but I was having trouble getting into the data on the drive from all the access points I moved. it didn't make sense to continue on. Why have it plugged in if I can't really use it?
Yeah. Well. I ended up setting up just a machine that I've got hard drives plugged into that just share the hard drives. So,
Well, I finally.
that creates its own problem.
Yeah. I finally broke down and updated my basement machine, it begging me to allow Windows to install Windows 11. And I resisted and resisted and resisted, and finally I said, okay. You got the message, do not shut off your machine. I didn't shut off the machine, and as far as I could tell, nothing happened. So a week later, it says, we're still updating.
Wonderful.
Your machine may start and stop several times.
Windows update is a complete wreck right now. I mean, it's just a mess. They did something and it disabled like calculator. Like, that's a free app that.
Yeah.
Why would you disable that? Why would an update break something that's been there since the very early days?
Yep.
Howdy?
Mutation.
Oh,
Ever switch. Just a basic switch. Gigabit. One of the few I've seen that has an on-off switch on.
that's
It's a switch with a switch.
That's interesting. A switch with a switch.
And I have no idea why. It just seems a waste.
Well, that's going to solve a few issues. NFS stopped working on me. One of the I assume it was one of the updates.
Reinstall NFS Common.
I installed something and then a day later or so, the same thing popped up. So I'm guessing it broke whatever the problem was. I rebooted the machine and then that stuff started working again. And I'm like, okay.
Somebody fixed it.
Somebody fixed it. I'm like,
That's one of the reasons.
It's not just Windows that breaks stuff, but Linux fixes it quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen
Without breaking something else.
Without breaking something else.
I've seen fixes in Linux come within an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was using it one day and then I went to use it like a few hours later after I did those updates. And I couldn't get it, and I'm like, oh crap, maybe the network's down. So
That's
I reboot. No, I actually was able to get to the machine. I was able to ping the machine that the NFS server's on, and I went, well, that's not the problem. then I started digging through it, and I mean the NSS server was up and running, and everything was there, and I'm like, crap. A couple hours later, I get an update that says that it's the same thing as the other one, and I went, oh, maybe that's the problem.
one of the things I did when I was running IT. I set up my router so that it cached and proxied all my Linux packages. And I didn't install any package unless it had been there for a week. I had a test system that pulled everything, that filled the cache, and after it was there for a week, I would load other machines off the cache. But that saved lots and lots of issues. Because I've never seen a real problem in Linux that lasted more than 2 days.
Yeah,
2.5 gig ports, both of them.
so this is that banana pie.
Yeah.
That's
Aluminum casing. It's maintainable and upgradable. You can actually hook a monitor and keyboard up to it and log into it. If the network is down, you can work on the network without using the network. And it does 4K. It's surprising. It's a neat little trinket.
now when you were talking about this last week, I was picturing something more Raspberry Pi size. This is
Even
tiny.
smaller. Yeah,
That's
that's a
palm size.
that's a friendly elect. Crap. That. Friendly elect has a whole series of stuff. They're effectively unbreakable. If the electronics are functioning, you shouldn't be able to break it. If you put a SD card in it, it boots off of the SD card
Yeah,
and immediately overwrites whatever's in flash.
okay.
So like if you set it up and you forget the SD cards in there and you reboot it, everything you just did went away. Ask me how I know. It really does USB 3.2 on these ports. These are 10 gigabit ports. 2.5 gigabit.
On something that's small.
Yeah. I can hook. Wow. I can hook I've got an old Buffalo braid station that's USB attached. And it'll only do 5 gigabit, but well, it's faster than the network, so that's fine. I can set it up to be a NAS or run Neth server as a containerized version. It has enough processing power and memory to run Pi-hole. And it runs the VPN software I like natively. It is a quick little ARM box. I'm very impressed and happy with it. Enough so that I now have 2 of them. It's an impressive piece of electronics, and the $100 with the wireless card. I bought the wireless card separate, but it's upgradable. The wireless card is an actual little PCI card. It's the same as what's in your laptop. So it's Wi-Fi 6 right now. When a supported Wi-Fi 7 card comes out, I pop in another card, and I just upgraded my $100 router to a $110 router. But if I buy a Wi-Fi 7 access point right now, I'm looking at $300. So though the supported is the tricky bit. Well, I run OpenWRT, which doesn't do any of the tainted kernel modules. And weirdly, a bunch of Intel cards are not supported. I don't know why. This is a Realtek. All the Realtek stuff is. But I don't think Realtek has any Wi-Fi 7 chips that'll fit in it right now.
Yeah, probably not.
But by the time one comes out, I can upgrade the firmware in it and it should be supported. I can buy every part of it too. On Friendly Elect, they sell just the card and the cables and the antennas. It's $6 and $8 shipping. I can buy just the little motherboard in here. That's like $40. The case costs as much as the board almost. But if I break the case,
Oh, you're in bigger trouble than
Yeah.
that. Yeah, if you have a car that's come through your house and wrecked the case, you are more problems than.
yep, insurance will cover it. Oh, and it also does data on the USB-C port. It's not just power, that's a 10 gig USB-C.
Well, I found something to use my HP 7 Steam Deck or Steam Stream 7 tablet for.
Okay,
So I run this software. OP25, but it's something else, and it streams to openmegahertz.com.
okay,
So I'm streaming Franklin City and the surrounding cities to openmhz.com. So I've got the tablet sitting next to the bed, so I can listen to it at night while I fall asleep. I used to use my phone to do that, but my phone, you get notifications and all kinds of other stuff, and that's a pain when you're trying to sleep. I just want to hear the smear. I don't care. So I finally found something semi-useful to do with it. Not that it's completely useful.
Well, I found that I had a machine that Vincente gave me about 6 months ago. I had a data cable failure. I didn't realize it was a data cable failure. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And eventually, I get out and drag out the oldest laptop I have ever seen. It's got to be 25 years old. It's been 2 or 3 years since I've used it. I plugged it in, start typing. The keys are so dirty. I go back and pound on them to get them to accept the. But as it turned out, the data cable failed while the machine was just sitting there. I have no idea why.
which data cable? There's many,
Excuse me?
there's many.
This was going to the boot drive.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I took the operating installation disk and I thought, well, I'll go back and do a repair. And I said, no, the hard drive's not even
There's no
there.
drive.
There's no drive there. And earlier you talked about working on that, and it reminded me. I'm looking at working on this drive. I'm disconnecting everything else. Well, how do I know? Yeah, the same way you said. I know. I do not want to accidentally wipe out everything on it.
I've definitely gotten more cautious as I've gotten older. I take pictures of things now, try to do everything in one go instead of leave it, and I'll come back to it in 3 weeks. I don't even know what it is anymore.
I've got pictures of a lot of stuff. And then I go back and I look at the picture and I go, what the heck was I doing?
Well, it was funny. I thought I had everything back and working. It was doing great. I had shut down booted, shut down booted, shut down booted, shut down booted. And I went to put the case back together, put the doors on. The act of sliding the doors on the case, it tipped or hit one of the data keys.
Oh,
And as soon as I went to boot it, it was drive's
Nope.
not available. Yeah. That's interesting. So I was gonna go through one cable at a time. And the very first cable, I forgot what's that.
What's the cable?
Yeah, and physically, I could not see that it had been chewed by small animals or like broken or any of that stuff.
I don't know.
so my interest in this. There's open source software for OpenWRT, which is what this one is. The beauty of
Is your leg bothering you?
you can have
Oh,
different companies' routers. You load the same OS on them. They look the same, they act the same. To a great extent, you can take a config off of one and put it on another, and it just works. It comes up with the same network names and the same
Yeah.
same ports configured.
Well, as I said last week, that is an extra. Doesn't do anybody any good sitting collecting dust. And this one, I don't think anybody wants, but it's a cable modem. And I don't think it is functional.
It wasn't functional when it functioned. My hatred for all of the local cable companies is pretty high up there.
Well, this was one I owned. I didn't get it through the cable company. So I think it died on its own, and now I have, when I went into Spectrum, it's kind of interesting. They gave me a new free cable modem. And the guy looked and said, oh, I'm going to reduce your monthly bill by $30. So,
That was very nice of you.
yes, it was.
That means that they've been overcharging you by $60 a month. for-
Or it means they're just desperate to keep retention because they know they're losing the battle.
I had been working with a certified laboratory for doing some of my analysis. And I set up ahead of time that I would have all the reagents and everything and the samples to them by a certain time. And if they would get the results for me by noon the next day.
Okay,
Well, turned out that I got twice as many samples as what I told them I had. And it was about 4 hours later delivering it. And they still got it to me. So I sent a note to their boss saying, you know, I really appreciate this. But I also took that same note into one of the analysts and I modified it, you know, the very last paragraph said, I expect this sort of service from now on, because obviously you guys are sitting on your ass most of the time. And a friend of mine was in that laboratory there. He said the analyst picked it up and he reads to the end because I can't believe he said that. What's a real one? Can't remember what next thing.
It has voice over IP.
it does. Still no.
I do voice over IP with a separate box.
Why?
Because the other one.
A lot of these have built-in battery backups. I doubt that one does, but the one that's about twice that size does.
Yeah,
I didn't ever think to look in there and see if it did. It doesn't look like it.
it's not heavy enough. The My dad is paying for voice over IP and cable and something else. He's getting sick of paying Spectrum for all that stuff. His point was to pay that much money for that stuff.
So this, as far as I know, is landfill.
The cord is useful.
The Mickey Mouse is good.
I think it's Mickey square right. And
That's the polarized sort of,
It's still
I
good.
forget, it's a C4 or something.
It's still good. It's still a good.
I'd break the case off to get the mail side of it.
I've taken those cables and just a little knife and rounded them off.
I get to Kansas City, setting up a computer and a monitor for my sister, so she would finish off in 37,000 flavor gas. And I'm down in the basement, I go to plug it in, and it's 2 rounds, and what I have, I've got a score in there. So yeah, I'm down there with an eye.
With
No, wait, it looked like a rabid beaver.
as long as it worked.
It's like,
As long as you don't go too far,
Yeah.
you're fine.
ooh, man.
Tape.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want anybody to see this. I'm gonna leave it plugged in forever until I
See-
take it out from the way.
The Mickey Mouse, the 2 rounds, they work just fine in the polarized ones. And I got stacks of those things because they're just semi-universal.
When you say
Unless
Mickey,
there's a reason it's polarized.
yeah, when you say Mickey Mouse, I always thought that was the 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
with
3.
ground.
Yeah,
Yeah. Guess that's more like an infinity symbol.
Yeah, I think the double round is a C3 and this is a C4. But just happens that those are Molex size pins. If you've got a Molex crimper, you can just crimp them on, put heat shrink from those. And Molex pins will probably carry more current than these. And this is rated for 7 amps. Barely come on.
Patty made me do something last week. It was bad. She made me buy a whole bunch of filament. She made me do it. It was bad.
Does she believe that yet?
So on eBay, I'm looking just random stuff, and a box of Sunview filament shows up. 7 rolls, 8 rolls.
Okay,
Eight
$100,
rolls. How much?
$100 worth if you're buying it 1 roll at a time.
Well, you'd think that if they were full-size rolls.
Oh,
I already knew what they were.
half kilos?
They're quarter kilo.
Never even seen those.
They're tiny.
Oh,
Patty walks in and she goes, "Oh, it's rainbow. Look at all the rainbow." Six of the 8 rolls were rainbow. I think it was a sample pack is what it was. I think it was, here's a sample of rainbow number 1, rainbow number up to 6 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You have to buy that. You have to do that.
okay.
You know, they're tiny rolls, right? I don't care. You have to buy them. $56 later.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's what I said. Free shipping. Got here in a day and a half. I can't complain. It was in the middle of the snowstorm and everything. I can't really complain about the shipping. I'm just sitting there going, I was laughing. I was like, okay, I knew they were going to be small because you could see them. You could see in the picture it said 250 grams or whatever it is, and I'm like, basically 4 rolls make a roll, so I'm spending $25+ on 2 rolls of film. Oh, you got to get them because they're pretty. What do you want out of them? Oh, just make me a boat. So I'm going to spend $56
For a Benji.
for a Vinci. Sounds good to me. So I have well probably at half of one of the rolls left, but I have 7 rolls of tiny filament.
You need to make a tiny Benji.
Really, the transition point wasn't quite good enough to transition for a small benchy, so I had to make the benchy bigger to make the transitions
Between the colors.
between the colors. So she got a small benchy and she got a big benchy.
You think the screws are on those lights?
Oh, I'm sure they are. I was mostly wondering if they're adhesive or plugs.
Yeah.
Because if they're plugs,
Yes.
those are valuable.
Yes.
If they're adhesive, yeah, whatever.
If they're adhesive, then they're in the trash. Cause they fall off. Why not there?
Probably. Good glue.
It's really-
No, maybe not.
It looked like there was a little dimple thing.
Yeah.
You might be able to pop it open with a little dimple thing.
We have a spudger.
A spudger?
Oh, it's in a spudger.
So this filament's kind of nice, but it's not $56 nice.
Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to pay $25 a roll for filament.
Well,
hadn't
I
thought of
even
it that
told her,
way.
I was like, you really want me to spend $25? No, $50 on 2 rolls of filament. Yeah. You know, I could go down to Micro Center and get a big roll of rainbow for $20.
Steve's better at getting those parts than I am.
Having a sponger helps. Sponge. Unless the filament moves. Got screws in it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it screws anyplace. I thought they'd be under the feet.
I mean, this corner opens up pretty obviously. It's got a little spot for you to get started, but then it just stops.
The rest of it doesn't. You know, it's already junk, just throw it against the floor.
Yeah, at this point, what can I do? It's not working. If I break it, so what? Oh, yeah.
It almost seems like there might be a screw up right up there in the front panel.
I hate the ones that are under the labels.
Yeah. Like it's partially,
Actual spudger.
actually, partially spudged and partially screwed.
their label is over holes in it. So you can't find the screw hole if there's one under this label.
Yeah, ventilation holes, because they're slopped over the top.
Nothing there. Nothing there. It's looking.
Seems like it would be under there if it's gonna be.
Oh, there it is. One down.
That wasn't adhesive, that looked like a
Yeah.
pocket. Was it adhesive?
Yeah.
Ah. Oh. I thought I saw a stem on it.
Oh, warranty seal, just broke it.
Oh, no.
Waited forever.
Main user service of the parts in this device.
Yeah, that's all I think.
Except that there's probably a fuse in there, you probably leave the fuse out.
Didn't have a power surge and didn't have anything else, it just, you know. Not working.
Oh, we got a new TV. This is a saga. We got a new TV January 6th, I think. It's gonna take a week to ship. Shows up, little damage on one corner of the box. They've got lots of foam. Can't be all that bad. So I signed for it. Open the box. Screen's great. 85-inch screen. Okay, it's big. It's bigger than that thing by a margin.
Yeah,
So ordered it from Sam's Club. Call up Sam's Club, I say, the screen's broke. Want to return it? I say, okay. The shipping company will call you to pick up the old one, and we'll dispatch a new one. And the shipping company will call you and tell you when they're gonna be there. Sweet. Shipping company calls, says, how about next Thursday? So this is a week exactly after I got the first one. The second one shows up, it has the exact same damage in the corner. Like somebody dropped a pallet of these things in a warehouse somewhere. And they're all broken the same way. And so I told the shipping guys,
I'm not gonna take it unless we open it up and look.
Yep. And so I don't have time, it's 2 minutes tops. Okay, and I had the knife there. Opened up the top and it's cracked, exact same way. Though apparently they were loaded on the pallet as facing each other instead of all face. Because this one is on the other end, but it's the exact same damage.
It has a hand in this.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, and they put it back in the truck and leave. And I immediately call Sam's Club. I'm like, that one was broken too. Can I get one off of a different pallet? And they're like, well, we can't guarantee that. And I said, I can't guarantee that I'll accept another one, but we can try. And an exact week later, it shows up and it seems to be perfect. I'm like, all right. I don't see any damage to the case. It looks good. 2 days ago, my kid and I finally get the thing up on the wall. It powers up. Everything's beautiful. I've still got another TV sitting in my living room because they still haven't called to come get the first one. So that's where we stand. We have a functioning 85-inch TV in the living room. It's almost awful. It is so big. You see the pores on the people's faces. And like, I like Sherlock, the series. Pretty good. I like Lucy Liu a lot.
Yeah.
You
Oh my
mean
God,
Elementary?
it is, yes, sorry. It is so big and so crisp because we're watching on Hulu and they're broadcasting it at 4K that you can see differences in makeup between scenes where they've touched them up. And she's like, oh, I can finally see it. I'm like, I can see too much. I'm not sure what I think about this whole thing.
Well, that's the
But I still
size,
have the old one, so
that's the size of TV that you say, oh, I think I want to watch the whole screen. Let me walk down to the end. and take a look."
yeah.
When,
That series is excellent.
yeah, yeah. I was, you know, I was a little skeptical about that series when they said Watson was going to be a woman. And I was like, no, don't go and screw around.
I think
And then I watched it. I'm like, damn, it's good.
I think my favorite episode is when he has to pick a sponsor.
Yeah.
And he picks Alfredo, this black guy with a sideways hat. And he's thinking of all the ways that he can get out of it. He shows up at the house with a high-end, multi-$100,000 vehicle. And it's got an alarm system on it. And he says, was it Austin Celtics? I'm not telling
A useful heat sink. Get the last latch unlatched. I know where it is.
It was never meant to. It was never meant to open.
Heat sink's a good size for a 5.5. You're not going to use the effect or the proper 5.5 heat sink.
They
That'll help.
when like even I think even when the 1080p TVs came out, people were, you can't watch standard definition because you see too much stuff or whatever. It's like, yeah. And then the 4K, oh, you can't watch high definition because you see too much stuff.
It makes everything look like soap operas to me because it's the lighting seems harsher and
artificial.
yeah, it's weird. And I'm playing with it whenever she's not watching it. I go through the different modes and everything because honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. Luckily, we still have the other one and it's going in the bedroom and it seems fine.
My TVs are all 720p and standard definition or whatever. It's fine. It's close enough. You know, standard definition was only 480, so 720, close enough.
Well, a friend of mine was getting rid of his 4K 55-inch TV because he didn't like the way the remote hit. So I gave him $75 for it, which was more than what he wanted. But I used that as a monitor for the basement machine. And I have two inputs out of the computer, one display port and one HDMI. And all I was doing using the display port for were photographs.
Okay.
Which were better than 4K quality. But I didn't like the transition and trying to go back and adjust the size of the font and all of the display between the two of them. So it was just too much of a hassle. I thought that I'd be able to set up photo gallery. That would be the only thing that I would display it. Didn't work out. We finally disconnected the display port. We just did away with it. Unfortunately.
you could probably do a display port to HDMI cable.
I had one of those. Little short adapter,
Yeah.
but the idea, Steve, from my thought was that if I'm gonna do a 4K photograph, I'm gonna occupy all of the screen. I don't want a large portion of it occupied with the controls for the photograph.
Okay,
I just want the photograph. And it worked out okay if I were to get up off the sofa and walk across the room and look at the text that was associated with it. You see any obvious?
I don't see anything obvious. That cap, maybe. Snow expected, oh, we're not expecting much, 2 inches. I was gonna see if I can see anything better. With this. The bottom of that cap looks like it might be blowing out, but I can't tell.
Well, maybe I'm misreading it, but I thought the power was over here in the other corner.
But it is, but I don't see anything obvious.
any cap, if it's between the ground plane and the positive plane, will make weird things happen.
My daughter had a 32-inch TV that she was brought over the house. And I could press the power button. And everything would come up for about a quarter of a second. Shut down again. And I was taking it apart. I was thinking about you, the look you have taking it apart. I looked at it, couldn't see a single component that was failed. But before I started parting around, I said, I am going to discharge this big ass capacitor. I unplugged it, reached in there with an aluminum probe that I use off of my solder kit. And it gave a big kapow.
Yeah, if it's anything in the power supply, I'd expect it to be on this side of the cut. Don't see anything obvious. There's no smoke on it anywhere.
We have a power LED, I believe. Oops,
Yeah, that's.
yeah, there is a power. That is
Here.
Have you identified it?
Yeah, it's labeled.
Okay,
PWR,
It's one of the
DSUS,
few things.
online, telephone 1 and telephone 2. Okay,
It's one of the
wait a second.
yeah. I appreciate you telling me, even though I would not have done
No, I've been on the other side of the time. Okay, go ahead.
it. Hands free, really? I hate these oriented plugs.
Wide side. No power LED yet.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, it's fixed.
Whatever it was, it's fixed because I was not getting a power well
At all?
at all.
Was it in a, no, one of the fancy outlets, the pop easily,
Well, it was
CFCI?
It was coming off of a power strip. Where I have all of this equipment was above the ceiling in the basement. I have a power strip there that is on a remote on-off switch. So the voice over IP and my other switches and everything that are plugged in are all plugged together. And everything else was working, this was not.
curious about this. Look at that one solder spot getting there.
Yeah. That looks a little like it got a little hot, maybe. Let me bring it over where I can see it.
I mean, it should be discharged by now.
Yeah, well, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna probe
See,
with my finger.
that looks like a cold
Cold joint.
maybe. I mean, that's really the only thing that's even kind of weird, yeah. What's those things? The only thing I saw, well, Steve saw is the only thing that even looks a little hanky.
All right, I'm gonna plug it back in again and see what the light comes on this.
Boom! Yeah, came right on. It came right on that time.
Didn't have to charge the caps, but. Yeah, let's reset it.
Fine.
Go ahead and plug it back in.
Okay, you want your fingers out or?
It's
you want
okay.
plug it in?
If this shocks me, we'll know something was bad.
Okay, you're telling me to plug it in? Yes.
At most on that side, it's probably gonna be 5 volts. Yeah.
I expect one of those LEDs to start blinking pretty soon.
Of course, if you're near the telephone circuit, that's probably 90 volts.
Curious that none of them have started blinking. I would have assumed that would happen.
Came right up.
Also curious that these two transformers, which are almost certainly the ring transformers, are on that side of that chip, because that chip is the voice over IP translator.
Yeah. Interesting.
And these two little chips down here are the level converters. Those are,
Oh, a whole bunch of stuff just flashed.
it finally booted.
It finally restarted, reset. Now it's looking for
So
the cable. Feed me cable. I need cable.
you know this wire is good. Valuable component there. Followed second by that nice heat sink. I got a bunch of NVMe drives from work. They're off of HPs and they've got a heat sink like this big on each one of them. Huge heat sink for an NVMe drive. And I'm trying to get the blue thermal compound off of. It's that real soft stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Want to put it back together and take it back home?
No.
The only damage at this point is that it doesn't have its little rubber feet anymore.
Well, I have one that is in place functioning. And there's no need for me to have a second one.
Unless you want to spare.
Well, the one I have now is not mine. It belongs to Spectrum. So if it fails, I'll just walk it into Spectrum and say, give me a new one.
Too bad Spectrum isn't in Middletown anymore. They're clear up by the Dayton Mall now.
Well, I was down in Batavia picking up a welder. And I walked into the place down there.
You have a Spectrum store in Batavia?
Yeah.
Where?
Okay. I'm going east. first main intersection goes to
Eastgate Boulevard.
and to the right of Eastgate Boulevard, about 2 blocks back in that shopping center area. Next,
By Jungle Gyms.
yes,
Okay.
they're two doors down. They opened at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
I go to Jungle Gyms weekly and never noticed them.
Um,
Well, that's
I'm
because,
blind to spectrum.
that's because, yeah, I was gonna say. You're not a customer, so why would you need to know where they're at?
and they were really nice people.
I was a customer when I lived in Fairfield. And they did absolutely everything they could to block me from running an email service. And you could only use wireless. When we first got there, there was a jack in the wall. I plugged in. I had internet. Yeah. Plugged my server in, couldn't send email. Oh, dang. So I paid to get around that. And then we were there for a year, maybe 8 months, I don't know. And the jack just stopped working one day. And so I called up the facility. I'm like, why did the jack get shut off? No link light, nothing. Somebody unplugged the cable. Oh, we're going with just Wi-Fi. Why? I hate Wi-Fi. I really do. I just,
If the infrastructure is there for cable already,
yeah.
I mean, I can understand it. If you got a 150-year-old building that you got to bore through 8 feet of masonry to put.
Done it. Been there, done that.
Actually, yeah.
It's worth it. I have 2-foot long 5/8 masonry bits and 5-foot long 3/4 inch bits.
We did. You know where Pisanello's is in Franklin?
Yeah.
That's where where the computer shop was.
Oh, okay.
That's an old building, 100 plus. If you go down in the basement, you still see the old tube and knob
Nice.
wiring, which thankfully they got rid of, but you could still see where it was. The shop owner, the guy that owned Pisanello's owned that entire building, and he wanted Ethernet up into his office. But guess who got to run it?
Yeah.
But I found it actually pretty much a breeze because they had ran phone line up there and some other
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
So we just, well, here's where they ran the phone line and shoved wire down through there. Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
we
we
can.
can. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Let's mark this wire so we know what this wire is for before we do anything stupid.
I set up a network in a building that was upgrading from Twinings. They had the big 3/4 inch coax with vampire taps all over it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They let us pull out all that cable and, or they told us to pull out all the cable. That stuff was like copper pipe. It was crazy. It
Well,
was not an easy pull.
we ended up, I think we ended up pulling a couple of wires that weren't being used, but we piggybacked our wire onto it so then we could just pull one wire and pull our wire down with it. It was so good. It was the hardest part of that job was actually running it across the basement.
Want to check the lights again?
It's busted.
Nah,
But
if it doesn't work now, we know how to fix it.
the whatever you call those things, girders, but
Joists.
Joists. Big wood planks. I mean, they probably didn't figure it out. That was the hardest thing to drill through. Oh.
Yeah, I ran networking in specialty envelope, which was in an old Crosley radio building down on Spring Grove Avenue. And at one point I had to go through the floor and I was going through a beam that was like 14, 16 inches square. Oak,
Yeah.
all the way through.
Yeah. That was the hardest part of that whole job. Because whoever ran the phone line was nice enough to have a
Did
pipe that
work
was
for
big
you.
enough to put other wires in.
My nephew started out working for.
Light just went out.
They should have all blinked.
Okay, maybe that's what happened. I'll get it one.
My nephew started working for an engineering company in Kansas City out of high school. He had no interest in going to school. He was a CAD operator. And the first project they had to work on, for whatever reason, they had an old Pratt & Whitney engine factory in Kansas City, about the size of GE and India in terms of acreage.
Nice.
And the government wanted to know where every sprinkler head was in that entire facility, latitude, longitude, altitude, and the type of sprinkler head. And so my nephew was the CAD operator and he was getting printouts. It was an HP surveying instrument, so all they had to do was put the laser on it and push the button that corresponded to the type of sprinkler head. But they were printing it out and giving it to him to pull it up. And he said, well, this is stupid. Why don't we just write a little program to put directly in the database? So he started writing a little routine to do that. And the people said, yeah, you're wasting your time, get back to work. And he persisted, and the next day, instead of making $25,000 on a $125,000 bid, they made $100,000, and it only cost them $25,000 to do it. So after that instance, nobody complained about, oh, you're wasting time, you're wasting time. And somebody took notice, and eventually he worked his way up through technology. They had acquired an engineering company in London, and they sent him to London to modernize it. And so
Funny that, okay, I was getting the pliers to pull it out.
he said when he went there, just looking around at how things were set up, guy's working on the machine, he pulls the floppy out and walks over, gets in the elevator, goes down 2 floors, walks over and gives it to another engineer who puts it in his computer, does some modification on his end. Meanwhile, the guy that pulls the floppy out to begin with, he's bullshitting around with 3 or 4 other people, and 15 minutes later, he gets the floppy and he comes back, gets in the elevator, goes back in. And he says, he's insane. He said, why don't we wire these, these? He was sent over there to wire everything. So we got together. He said, the telephone system was so full of pops and gurgles, he could not use it. And he looked at the overall situation and said, it made sense to do wireless as opposed to sending cable through. He spent 3 years getting them all set up. And when he came back to the United States, he brought back a letter of reprimand from the London headquarters. He said, even after repeated warnings, you have failed to follow the procedures for procurement. My nephew said, if you wanted to buy a pencil, he had like 6 copies of triplicates with, a dozen signatures. He said, I didn't work for them. I knew I didn't work for them. They knew I didn't work for them. So if I needed something, I just went out and bought it. Turned the building. But it infuriated the bureaucracy that he was in the position of doing that. He's now the vice president of technology for Henderson Engineering. He does all of the engineering work for Walmart.
Nice. Walmart used to have nice computers in the back then. Sun 990s and stuff. And I mean, there was a single computer this tall that could lose 3/4 of its guts and still work. That blade that I had out is a package opener. It's specifically for clamshell plastic wrap crap,
Oh, that's nuts.
and it works really, really well.
Is it
Once
like
you get
a
it
little
started,
hook?
yep. Once you get it started, it pulls itself into the right depth and it stays there until you're all done. That particular knife I bought 25 years ago, maybe more, for probably $8 at Walmart. It is now a $35 knife. And
It's probably still worth it.
yeah, yeah, there's pliers. Open it up. It's got little pliers that are pretty decent. All the bits that pull on that loop that's sticking out.
Okay. The one I have at home, you have to rotate,
Oh,
and I didn't know exactly this.
you can't really. I'm a big fan of them. I've got lots of other stuff. I've also got a fair amount of leather.
Those are,
This looks like a quality tool.
It's pretty well made. I mean, it's 25 years old and I use it 2 or 3
All-
times a week.
all the time.
Yeah. Then there's this.
I told you guys about that. I found one of those in the parking lot at somewhere. Somebody had,
A leather one.
yeah, somebody had dropped it and lost it, and I picked it up. I was like, damn, this looks like an expensive tool.
Yeah, that's about 130.
And
That's something that Marla got.
I've kept it and kept it and kept it. I use it every now and then. I use it quite a bit, but it's got the little thing and it's got,
Replaceable carbide blade inserts. Just very good.
mine is slightly different because mine doesn't fold out like that.
Mhm.
Mine
Ejects out. Yeah,
ejects out, yeah. But
yeah, I've got one of those too.
it's a Leatherman. It's a heck of a tool. It's
This
got
is
all the little extra parts. It's got, I think it's even got a toothpick in it.
yeah. Well, my
Swiss Army knife
Okay.
kind of style.
I like sharp things. This one has toothpick
Yeah,
and the Phillips, you can really crank on.
yeah,
It's got the little scissors. This is the tinker. It's got the tweezers.
yeah.
There's one that's this size exactly that has a USB thumb drive in it. And I regret that I didn't get that one, but they no longer make it either. So a lot of people probably discovered that it wasn't the best USB drive. I went to Rocky Mountain Knife Works down outside of Gatlinburg. I had lost my toothpick. And I'm looking in the knife area, that like things with sharp edges. And the guy walks up, can I help? Can I buy a couple of the toothpicks? Oh yeah, hold on. And he goes back and he comes back with this tray from Victorinox of bits. He's got scales, he's got the toothpicks, he's got the tweezers. He gives me 4 of them. So just like, okay.
Okay.
I mean, considering that this particular one at Walmart is $40-ish and they sell it for $50. They mark everything up some. they're making their profit. This one has one weird thing that I can't always get open. There we go. Still have not really found out what that's technically for.
It's a hook.
It's a little hook, but what it really is good for is if you're pulling cables, get 2 loops around that thing and
I thought
yank.
I thought one of them, may not be that one, but I thought one of them had like a fish holder thing, so you could hold your fish up after you fish.
Maybe, I don't know. It's too small to be for like
Big fish.
plastic grocery bags or something.
Yeah.
And they sell a thing that looks like that has a good size hook just for grocery bags.
Well, the fact that it has kind of a nub here,
That's so you can open it.
yeah. So you can grab a hold of it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that it was a stop where you would reach in and twist it.
Yeah, I know that there was one that I was reading, because I saw it and I'm like, what the heck is that for? And I Googled it and it was a fish holder. It was meant to like,
Yeah. Surprised it didn't have a scale.
now I guess it was meant if you had fish that you wanted to leave alive or whatever, you just attach it
Huh.
and let the fish swim attached to your knife.
The thing I like about
It
this one,
it was something very similar to that, but not the same because it was bigger.
the thing I like about this one is that all the blades are one hand opening. They've got a little notch on the end.
Yeah,
And then you can get just the Phillips screwdriver out and everything locks open and closed. Well, that doesn't lock closed, but it's got a spring detent. I did switch it from right hand to left hand. I put the sharp blade on the left thumb side and the scissors because those are the things I use the most.
I was at one of the Walmarts and I mean, it's 15, 20 years ago. And I'm walking back to my car. And I look down and there's 11 of them. I'm like,
Maybe mine, I lost one.
I don't think it's yours.
Is this like
It's too late
looking
now.
off of Sears where he says, hey, look, I found a $20 bill.
I think that's mine.
And he says, well, what's the serial number? He thinks for a minute and reads off the serial number. Damn, that's how do you come to know the serial number of a $20 bill? Oh, my dad taught me that. Always memorize the serial numbers of money in my pocket. Well, with my Crohn's disease, one of the facts is that I do not have any strength in my nails. As you can see, they're constantly breaking and stuff. So having something like that.
Yeah, this is, you're not using your nails.
Yeah, you're using the thumb.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
Almost.
You know, I end up getting a coin or something like that where I can get it in.
Mhm. Let's see if we can open. It also has a magnet in it, so if I ever get lost in the woods, if I find a piece of wire, I can magnetize it, make a compass and get out. I know
Yeah.
which way is north on it, so it doesn't take me the wrong direction.
Neat.
I have a little photo. It says, welcome to Ohio, home of J.D. Vance and Jim Jordan. He brings you to the question, what have you done in life to bring you to this point? What mistakes have you made? I think the moral compass would suffer. Not
And another one.
Hi, Ray. Ray's here, maybe.
Great.
So you? Let's see, do I have any more? Scissors.
Hello.
Greetings.
And where's Ray hiding at today?
Konnichiwa. Ray is in Detroit.
Wow,
Oh, I'm sorry.
we just
I
moved a
think
bunch of
Detroit.
stuff up there.
What'd you send up here?
Siemens shipped a bunch of stuff to Auburn Hills. It's north of Detroit by about 30 miles, I think.
Yeah, I'm north of Detroit about 20 miles.
Yeah, you're almost there.
I can see by the amount of snow piles, the size of the snow piles. Detroit did not get nearly the snow that we did. Not even close. I've been plowing snow piles for days.
Ray, I would like to pick up, deliver the radial arm saw to you whenever you're going to be back at the newspaper office and it's convenient for you. Please give me a call.
I'm told that I'll be there Saturday or Sunday. I don't know when.
Ray doesn't.
Is every time I go and I'm out somewhere, Carol is like, "Hey, I got somebody else that wants your attention." Yeah, I believe that. So
While you're at it,
yeah, while you're at,
That fish hook thing looked more like that without the blade part, without the cutting part.
well, anyway, Ray, when you have the opportunity, go ahead and give me a call and we'll set up a delivery time.
yeah, that sounds fun. I am trying to be there on Saturday because I
$16.
need to install some track lights.
It should be like that. I'm like, really? Like, great for opening boxes and stuff. And it's always with me. I like to get locks closed, so it isn't gonna open up in your pocket.
And it's small, it's legal.
Yeah, technically I should be able to take this on a plane.
My brother was prohibited from taking a shoe to a plane.
Cause he might sharpen on the side of the seat.
He took it to the airport with him because he knew he's gonna have to take his shoes off. He knew he'd be able to put his shoes back in. He said, "I've had this shoe on for 35 years and you're telling me I can't take it on the plane."
What are you gonna do with the shoehorn?
Other than put your shoes back on, I don't know what the thing he came to.
I think I would have called for a supervisor.
Yeah, it depends on how much time you got available to call for a supervisor.
Mine went the other. I got not too long after 9/11, 2009 or 10. Right after Valentine's Day, so February 16th or so. I lost my driver's license and I was in Fairbanks, Alaska, and needed to get home. And I've got a duffel bag full of woodworking tools and paint and a sawzall, a battery sawzall. Just, I had razor blades, I had stuff that was supposed to all go in checked luggage. And I didn't have my driver's license, so I couldn't even get into the airport. And they're going through this 800-page manual of what to do in this situation. And they found out on about page 798 that I had the sign promising I'd be nice. But then the plane is ready to go. So my stuff got carried on as carry-on luggage.
Insanity.
As long as you're gonna be nice.
Yep.
You just have to promise not to do anything.
I had to sign a piece of paper that said that I wouldn't do anything to harm the plane, its passengers or pilots. I was okay to harm the stewardess.
Grief.
I carried C4 onto a plane when I got out of the Army. I thought that was okay at the time. And I had a duffel bag in my head. I was in EOD. Got to play with C4. And I had a bunch of CO2 cartridges, and I stuffed about 6 of them full of C4 with little remote fuses. And they'd take out an oak tree this big, just one. They were fun. I got out of Fort Knox. They said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "I want to go to Disneyland." Okay. When you get out, they send you wherever you want. So Disneyland. I land at LAX. I've got my duffel bag. Because they didn't even look at me getting on in Louisville. I was like, whatever, he's dressed like a pickle, let him go. And at LAX, I get out and I realized that the car rental was way down there. And there was nothing near me. So I wanted to put my duffel in a locker. They're right over there. So I'm headed that way. And some guy at an x-ray machine says, "Sir, you got to run through here." I'm, "Oh, okay." So I toss them up. And as they're going in, I went, "Oh, shit." Huh. Gets to the other end. He says, "Sir, can you unlock this?" And, "Yeah, yes." So I unlock it and I'm waiting for somebody to push a button. And they reach in and they pull out a bunch of stuff, cassette recorders and wires and batteries and 3 or 4 of these cylinders wrapped with red wire and yellow tape. They just looked scary, I thought. And he looks in and he sees my umbrella and shoves everything back in and says, "Okay." Okay.
Okay.
Well, the people I work for in Texas always wait until the very last minute to do anything. "Oh, can you review these documents by 9 o'clock tonight?" That type of stuff. We need you to be in Houston tomorrow morning at 9. So I don't know when I'm coming back, and I don't have anything done in advance. So I always have these one-way ticket boarding passes purchased at the last minute, which might as well say, "I love the snap of latex in the morning." Every time I would go through with one of those, I would get pulled aside. And because I had been at the Coke plant, everything I had was contaminated with residue. None of it was C4, it was just byproducts.
Yep.
Material. And it would set off alarms whenever they would swab it. You know, I had a little tape recorder in the they said, "Does this work?" I said, "I don't know." It's like,
It did. Did you break it?
it might, I have no idea.
Yeah.
You were talking about losing your driver's license, so this was probably 30 years ago. It was always my habit when I was at a transfer destination, like I was going to go from A to B, but I had to stop at Q first. Then I would get off the plane, go to the gate that I needed to go to, make certain I knew where it was, get everything set, and then if I had time, I'd get something to eat. So I went to the gate and sat down, decided I'm going to go get something for breakfast. And I stood up and started walking, and the plane that had just, the passengers had just boarded the plane. I looked down and there is a credit card and a driver's license sitting in the chair. So I grab them and run up to the boarding agent and say, somebody left these. And, you know, I'm sure they're on the plane. So they take them down and came back. So they were really so appreciative. Yeah, they can get to wherever they were going, but they're not gonna come back without a driver's license.
Unless they sign that paper.
Yeah.
You
So-
just have to promise to be good.
So I go down to this little bitty, like, one king or something like that, in the airport. And I get a minor thing like a sweet roll or something, and a Coke. And I'm sitting there eating, you know, not more than 4 feet away from the cashier because this place is tiny. And this woman comes up and she has a cup of coffee and she gives the cashier $100. And the cashier says, "Ma'am, could you give me a small bill?"
Let me change around, that's how I gave it to you.
Just really nasty. Okay, so she's.
Coffee's free.
No, she's gotta go back and get change for the $100 bill and stuff. And so she counts out the change and the woman drops one of the coins on the floor and bends over, picks up the coins, but leaves all the folding money right there in front of the register and walks away. And the guy behind her comes up and says, "Ma'am, you left this at the register." And what do you suppose she did? Did she say thank you? She counted the money.
Damn.
And it's like, I wouldn't have said anything if he'd put it in his pocket. And the cashier wouldn't have said anything if he put it in his pocket. But I thought, how nasty a person that was to
Yeah.
just overall, you know, if she said, "Oh, I'm such an idiot, you know, thank you very much. You know, can I get your breakfast for you?" Or whatever, anything to acknowledge that it was a nice gesture on his part.
Yeah.
The people on the airplane that I turned in a credit card and driver's license, they were 100 times nicer to me than this woman was to the guy that gave her the cash.
People are fun. Ah. Uncle Bill's sliver getter. Little tiny pair of tweezers. You gotta squeeze them to get them out of there. There's a pin through the middle. Those are amazingly good for splinters.
I got a split. I fell down the stairs
Ow.
before the snow. And first time I've done that. I mean, you know, just stupid. I missed a step and fell down the stairs. I'm old. I got a splinter in my hand from the wood. And Patty kept going, "There's a splinter in there. Let me," and I'm like, "No, there's not. There's nothing wrong with, you know, it didn't hurt. I didn't, there was no pain, no nothing." 2 or 3 days later, all this pus starts coming, and all of a sudden it's a big, I mean, that splinter had to be like that long, and it finally came out, and I'm like, damn. That was in my hand.
50.
I got that pair at a locksmith in Hamilton or Fairfield, right on the edge. Yeah. For $4.
It's very well designed. That's
I wanted to get a couple of those for kids. They're $16 a pair on Amazon. So if the kids haven't got them. But that I've had 10 or 12 years.
They are very pointy.
Yeah, those are really good for splinters.
Splinters.
The tweezers with pinpoint precision.
Yeah.
And you can get a surprising amount of torque on the weird little screwdriver bits too, because you can use the whole key ring to help twist. And they're stuck together with a couple of little tiny magnets, because it's sort of fun.
That's magnets are. Yeah. I showed Patty the splinter that came out of my hand, and I went, oh, I guess you were right. I had a splinter, and I showed her, and it was that long, and she's like, that was in your hand. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, how do you not feel that?
It's just didn't feel it. I don't know. My hand must have went numb instantly. Thing is I kind of sort of knew there was something in there, but I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of being correct
I understand.
until it came out, and it was just a huge splinter. That's like, well, maybe I actually should have listened to her.
You know, this is being recorded.
Yeah, I know.
She can be alerted to key points.
It's being recorded twice. No, she pretty much knows I'm an idiot most of the time. I just do stuff.
How'd you like that?
She's been sick for 3 days. Pretty much driving me nuts for 3 days. Anybody seen Barry lately? Haven't seen Barry in
No.
a while.
I brought this for him specifically because he asked for it a couple of months ago, and I kept forgetting to bring it. The last thing I saw was a posting that he had put up on the 3D print for wrenches.
Oh, 3D print wrenches?
It was a wrench holder that was specifically designed where you would put the opening wrench over the knob, and then when you drop the wrench, it locked it in.
Okay.
They printed a whole block of the outfit that was doing the manufacturing and sales rep in Alaska. And I inquired whether you could buy individual ones, not on a big block. So if you have duplicates of something, you could buy and insert in the block. Also, Barry and I have been in conversation. I don't care whether it's labeled metric or imperial. I just look for size wrench that fits. So if it doesn't fit, it's either too big or too small. If it's too big, I go that way. If it's too small, I go that way.
Wait, you mean you would have a bar with like English, metric, 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 English?
In fact, I do.
Very good.
Savage.
Madman! You are a madman!
I turned a post that my open-end wrenches go from 1.5 inches, and they fit from side to side in the drawer down to 1/2 inch. And so the cylinder is at 1/2 inch, and I marked how thick the wrench is, and then I turn the next one down, the length necessary to hold the inch and 3/8, I believe. And then it goes to the next, and it just steps all the way down, so that when I get to 5/8, I got a patch of those.
Yeah.
So there's a wide section for 5/8. And then So,
Where are all the 11mm ones at?
11mm are on the next row.
11mm always is always the one that's missing out of any set I've ever. That's always the one that missed, but
What drives me nuts are the tiny, teeny Allen wrenches. You know, not labeled as what size they are.
So mine are color coded. Metrics are all blue and SAE is all red.
Mine are color coded also, but they're repetitive. They go in a color spectrum from red to white, going through green, brown, purple, yellow, and orange along the way, and then that repeats. So all of my sockets, all of my drive tools, like the impacts and the little nut drivers off, they all share the same code. So I know if it's red, it's either going to be 1/4 inch or 10mm. And I have a little banner in the toolbox that tells me what color everything is, so I can look and see, oh, 11mm. I didn't go off the
So
top.
is it these resistor color codes? Resistor color codes?
They're
Bad boys race our young girls,
No.
violet generally wins,
this is
or something similar?
no, this is just the way that your colors progress from one color to another.
Oh,
So, purple and blue are next to each other. Brown and green, I think, are next to each other. But if you look at them, it's kind of like a rainbow. Yeah. When the tools are there, I can know which ones are. I don't know.
brown should be closer to orange.
and red. Black on one side, brown.
I don't have any black. I have white, but I do not have black because many of the wrenches are black by themselves and I didn't want to have to try to figure it out. But when you get down at the really like 1/100th of an inch Allen wrench, you can't take on it. It's a wad, just to go around once.
My dad started teaching me resistor code when I was probably 7 or 8. And because he couldn't see the resistors anymore, so he'd hand me a box of mixed ones and I'd sort them. So I learned those really well. And then I started doing telephone work. And telephone work has 2 groups of 5. So everything has 2 colors. So white and blue is pair 1. And it's blue with a white stripe and white with a blue stripe. That's those 2 colors. And the first 5 pairs are blue, green, orange, brown. And then the 5th one is violet, but I could never get the second half because it's like white and then black and then slate, and it has to be slate. I have friends that do phone work, never say gray, it is slate and violet, not purple.
Yes.
They will get angry with yeah, doing the transition to phone colors was weird.
Well, I had an argument with my stepson about Cat5 cables and ends. And I said, the electrons don't care what color the insulation is.
That's true, but the guy following behind you does.
Just make sure that if you're making up a cable, that both ends match.
And the pairs are paired.
And the pairs are paired.
If you mix half of this pair and half of this pair, things go wonky quick.
Yeah. When I first started learning Cat5, doing my own cables, I made a bunch of them where the pairs were, where the position of the pairs were wrong if you look at the colors, but the pairs were correct, so the wires still work.
A functional.
I had somebody come in who had been doing Cat5 forever, and they picked up, I don't know, what
It's not A or B.
What is this Cat5 cable supposed to be? I said, I was learning how to do it. It's a functional Cat5. I plugged it into my little Cat5 tester. It all tested fine. Just, God, that's the most annoying thing ever. And he went and snipped the end off and fixed it. I'm like, okay, whatever.
One of the first network jobs I did for a company other than Miami Systems was for a specialty envelope, the one that had been Crosley Radio. And they had big bus bars running throughout the plant to run all sorts of printing equipment. This is a box about so tall with flanges every 10 feet or so and big switches mounted to the side of the bus bars. There was no way I could get that wire where I needed to get that wire other than following the bus bars. And so I went through the flanges. There was one hole open on every flange in the lower corner. Perfect. The wire just fit through. It's beautiful. I ran 320 feet of Cat5 UTP. And I plugged it into a switch on this end, and I plugged it into the computer on that end. They both came up, and I got a link light. Cool. I'm done. An hour later, I got to go back down to the office on the floor. It's not working. So I had a little Linux laptop with me, and I plugged it in and tailed the parallel syslog. And it's coming up, it's going down, it's coming up, going down. It would come up at 10 megabit. They could both talk that. Both ends said, I can also talk 100 megabit. They'd go to 100 megabit and they couldn't hear each other. So they dropped to 10 and renegotiate, and had to tell the one on the far end, just stay at 10. And that fixed it. Realtek RTL 8139 network cards.
Too long of a cable?
No, too close to a bus bar.
Too close to the
Yeah,
bus
it was
bar.
parallel to the bus bar all the way out.
So it was getting an inducted curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we lived in Hamilton, I set up the house with cameras on the outside and all kinds of stuff. And I used Cat5 to supply the power to the cameras. It was my own stuff. I didn't care if it was on the right pair or the wrong pair or any other pair. I just wired it up. And I was telling somebody about it, and they just got ignorantly, just, you can't do that. It's on the wrong pair. You can't. I'm like, I'm not using it as Cat5. I'm using it as a video cable.
You can do it as Cat5.
I'm sending the video down 2 pair, and I'm sending the power up 2 pair.
You didn't wire your standard 110 house voltage fittings. That would be wrong. Oh, I'll just plug this in.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Well, that's more or less what I did. I took the
Well, you didn't put a 110.
no, but I took the AC brick. Chopped the ends off, wired it to two of the wires, two of the 8 wires. There's your power. And then I had the video signal and the audio signal coming out of the camera on the video on 2 pair or on 1 pair and the
Well, what I'm saying though, is one pair of cables that was there for data, you didn't decide, I don't want to solder that, so I'm just gonna take a 110 outlet.
no, I didn't do crazy stuff. I did
Yeah,
I did
I did the same
semi-smart stuff.
thing, but I used those little white double female cups. Crack them open. It's easy to pull 4 of the wires out. I did, so 1, 2, 3, and 6 are
Yeah.
what you need for 100 megabits.
Yeah.
I used 4, 5, 7, and 8. And I ran positive on 4 and 5 and ground on 7 and 8.
I took
And I had a pile of the little barrel jacks that I got from Micro Center.
yeah.
So I had barrel jacks on everything. It worked out well. You can buy those.
I took an old VHS camcorder
Mhm.
that I picked up at the thrift store for a few dollars. And I put it up on a pole outside the house. I wrapped it in, first I siliconed it all up with just an ungodly amount of silicone. Wrapped it in duct tape and then I wrapped it in electrical tape. It worked beautiful for 3 years until finally the silicone broke down and water got into it. It just stopped working. But you know, those things were old. They were analog signals,
Yeah.
video, composite video and composite audio, and that's all I needed.
I was wondering, when you had the tools out earlier, I was wondering which of those tools put the smoke back in the wires.
Oh, they're all for that.
But the thing, I don't know, I was at somewhere, I was telling somebody how I wired this thing up and they were just absolute, oh, you can't do that, you can't, that's not what those wires are for, that you're using those colors wrong. Oh my God. I was like, it's a
Not your
wire.
wires.
I need to get 12 volts from here to 12 volts 8 foot above the house.
Something you reminded me of, I hadn't thought of for years. My mom used to build dollhouses, really good. My dad at one point took an old camcorder viewfinder and pulled the little tiny picture tube out of it and made mom the
A little-
TV.
A little
Oh,
teeny
that's
tiny.
Yeah,
TV.
there was a closet behind where it was sitting, so the tube, which was about that long, was in that, but it was a working TV. It
Yeah.
was so cool. It only ran on VHS tapes, but
If you can find those old ones from like the 80s, those are all tube TVs, every one of them.
I
yeah,
did not, well,
it's a little tiny,
now that I
like,
think about it, yeah.
it's about a 1-inch black and white picture tube.
Unless it's one of the newer ones, which is a color, but it's still a tube.
Yeah, I never saw a color one.
They did make a color one. I watched a video of them. They're really cool. They do weird assistance of vision kind of deal to actually make the color.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a weird thing, but such
It's
as
got a color wheel spinning in front of it?
kind of, yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
There's mirrors in there and the color separator thing is over here and the mirrors are projecting it out so that it blends it all together. It's
Neat.
you think about just how miniature it all had to be to make
Yeah.
that work. But yeah, if you can find those things are cool and there's not a whole lot
They're
to them.
$4 at the Salvation Army.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to them. You need to get the right voltage to them and they're basically a composite input.
Yep. This one was, Dan even had the extra 12-volt battery a lead acid battery that was on a belt. Thing weighed, shoot, probably 6 pounds.
Yeah.
It was not small. It was, the battery was about that long, about that
Oh
tall,
my-
about that thick.
Goodness, it's almost 7 o'clock, guys.
Um,
What are you eating, Ray? Ah, Taco Bell wins.
Taco smell.
I am going to put this in the drawer. If I am not here and Barry is at some time,
I'll see everybody later.
What does he need it for, do you know?
I have no idea.
I mean, I live fairly close to him. I can give it to him.
I don't know whether